Hi, I'd like to place an order for takeout.
Sure. How many pies are you looking for?
One.
Very soon as I can get that out. It's right around 7:05. Is that okay?
Yep, that works.
What are you having?
Pepperoni, large.
You got it. What's your last name?
Jackson.
You know it's cash only, right?
Yes.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. We'll see you right around 5 after 7.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
I've always wondered, if I tried my best, how good could I do in competitive board gaming? Now, the problem is a lot of games, you have to get to know them at such a deep level that it rivals sports. That would be for games like Magic the Gathering or Warhammer or any of those types of games. But thankfully now we have the World Series of Board Gaming. And I decided I want to qualify or attempt to qualify for the World Series of Board Gaming, ideally with the tournament on the East Coast. So I signed up for the closest thing I could, which was the satellite event for the World Series of Board Gaming at PrezCon in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now this was not ideal. I signed up for this event, which is 8 hours-ish from my house. And I have other commitments. I just finished up my daughter's basketball practice. And I need to get back in time for her game on Saturday. So it's Thursday night. It's about 6:23. I am driving to Virginia, it's basically just over the border, where I'm gonna stay overnight, then drive the remaining 2 hours down to PrezCon in time for my 12 o'clock Splendor Swiss-style tournament to qualify for the World Series of Board Gaming. I didn't get a lot of details on exactly where to go, but I'm assuming it's the location of PrezCon in Charlottesville. My first stop on the way there, getting pizza at Little Rendezvous in Meriden, Connecticut. Why there? Well, that's one of only 2 pizza places in Connecticut that have gotten at least a 9.0 on Dave Portnoy's One Bite Pizza ratings. I've gotten Sally's a pizza in New Haven. I've not gotten Rendezvous pizza. This is a lot of driving for only a few minutes of tournament play. So I think I get 3 rounds of Splendor, and then that's it. And either I win, and I get the bye, or I lose. I go home, an 8-hour drive for basically the second half of Friday empty-handed. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited for this. Well, you know what they say, everything's either a good time or a good story. I'll check in after I get the pizza. This just came out of the oven. I will definitely burn my mouth if I eat this, but I think that's worth it. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of modeled my one play board game reviews a little bit after the idea of the One Bite Pizza reviews. It doesn't really work the same way with board games because it kind of comes across as half-assed. If you only review a game after playing it once, and don't call it first impressions. Yeah, so there. All right, steady slice. This is really good. This is, so thin crust is my favorite kind of pizza. I'm not a deep dish person. Oh, there it is. Burning the gums. I feel like it's almost, it just came out. I washed them. They took it from the oven into the box, paid in cash, walked out. It was really efficient. I've never had pizza this fresh before. This is phenomenal pizza though. I would say my favorite pizza places I've ever been to. Conti's in Princeton is number 1. Sally's Pizza in New Haven is number 2. This might be number 3. Oh, there's an axe throwing place in Northern Connecticut. It's also really good. All right, I'm gonna finish the slice and then get back on the road. We'll see if the next stop is in Winchester, Virginia. Or not, because that's where my hotel is. 6-hour drive ahead of me. Nothing in my future but board games. Nothing in the car but pizza. Some caffeine. Audio superiority. And a check engine light.
Can life get better? I submit that it cannot.
My check engine light's been coming off and on like once a month recently. I can't seem to pull the code before it goes away. My check engine light went off. Woohoo! 7:47 p.m. I have completed all of the pizza eating I'm gonna do at this trip, and I just noticed that the logo for the Trumbull Mall looks like a hospital logo. I don't know how else to explain it. It just kind of does. I've transitioned from listening to NASCAR breakdowns on YouTube to now music, and I'm singing. 'Cause I don't want to live the comfort of this place. Approaching New Jersey on 287 South, realizing I probably should not have actual licensed music in the background. Contemplating a pit stop, which would put me, I believe, about 2 hours out of Winchester. I'm also going to try to intentionally drive through West Virginia if I can, because I've never been to West Virginia, and it'll be nice to mark that state off my list. We've entered an area of the trip where I guess we have to watch out for racing. Unless those are undercover cops, because someone's getting pulled over. One is now live blogging crime scenes. Are they doing a slowdown? Oh, geez. Entering Pompton Lakes. I do believe we're in New Jersey now. I've added a pit stop. That is the Wawa in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It should be a 24-hour Wawa. ETA to Wawa is 11:23. If I'm going to pick somewhere, picking a Wawa is great. I really wish there were Wawas up in Connecticut, but alas, there are not. I gotta say, there's something about New Jersey highways that seems like they're at a higher level than Connecticut highways. It's almost like Connecticut highways are AAA, but New Jersey highways are the major leagues. 9:44 p.m., entering Pennsylvania. I'm reminded of how boring some of the highways can be in this area. We got our dog in Binghamton, New York, which is just north of Pennsylvania, and that's one of those, just feels like a random, almost like a highway truck stop of a city in the middle of nowhere. And that's what a lot of Pennsylvania is like. Is that a crane? Is that a rainbow crane to my left? What is that? There's a climbing play place thing. Sort of by Phantom Fireworks. Oh yeah, there are also always fireworks stores just over the river in Pennsylvania from New Jersey, because it's legal to sell fireworks in Pennsylvania to people not from Pennsylvania. So yeah, fun fact. Maybe I should get some. I don't have time this time. Maybe on the way back. Nobody loves no one. 10:22, passing Cabela's, which hasn't been renamed Bass Pro Shops, unlike the Cabela's up in Connecticut that I'm familiar with. I believe that means that not too far away from Hershey Park, if I remember correctly, 50 minutes away from the Harrisburg Wawa. I'm starting to have some fatigue in my right hamstring. I'm staying in the same position for a while, but all things considered, it's not too bad. I haven't had to use the bathroom yet. There are a lot of trucks out here. So I almost felt like I was getting boxed in by tractor trailers. It helps me to appreciate those nights and those dreams. Why is Hershey Park both a theme park and then the chocolate stuff? What does a theme park and roller coasters have to do with chocolate? I wonder what the connection there is. 81 South, about 16 miles from Wawa, past a very busy rest stop and way station. I don't think I've ever seen so many trucks parked at like a rest stop at the same time. Probably prostitutes around there. Do trucks just pass each other on the highway for fun? I feel like I keep coming up to like a set of 3 trucks and they're like alternating who's the leader. They alternate who's saving fuel by riding behind the lead car. I don't understand it. I mean, do they do that just to stay awake? Are they actually trying to get ahead of each other? Are their speeds that different? Also, this is an area of the country where I think it'd be fun to have a flashlight because there are objects out in the distance, for example, unlit water towers, where if you had a really strong flash, I'd be curious to say, like, see if you can see what that water tower says. Looks like it's about a half a mile away. Because it's, like, clear enough and dark enough that maybe you can. Seriously, there are just trucks parked on off-ramps. Are they just allowed to sleep there? Why'd I get a hotel? All right, made it to Wawa, 11:09 p.m. Let's go get some more seltzer. Maybe I'll get some black coffee or caffeine or something. They have a propane vending machine here. It's interesting. Forgot to mention there's also a lot of Tesla chargers over here. Maison Perrier. And I got a black tea as an emergency so that I don't have to bust out my super emergency if I get really tired. Hour 44. On track to beat 1 a.m. Let's give it a shot. 11:57. Just said goodnight to Mrs. Warfield. I am 1 hour from the destination, Microtel in Winchester, Virginia. I believe I may be approaching West Virginia. I confirm my route will take me through West Virginia. Also, this highway is so boring. It's just like straight, and every town around here ends in Berg. I just passed one of the biggest warehouses I've ever seen. It was a Target warehouse. It looked like it was like a quarter-mile long at least. I gotta look up that on the satellite later. Can you take me high? 12:53 a.m. I have arrived at Microtel. I passed through West Virginia without even realizing it, but I guess that was fun. All right, I'm at Microtel. Seems fine. So I'm not gonna have enough time here to be able to play a few games of Splendor on Board Game Arena like I would like to because it's just a little bit too late and I gotta get to sleep. That's gonna be more important for me. But I have been training. I actually started off by training to play Seven Wonders. After a while, I realized I couldn't make Thursday, so I started training for Splendor. The way Splendor works, it's a game where you're trying to get 15 points, and you have cards that all give you different numbers of points. You buy these cards with gems. On your turn, you either take actual gem poker chips that can be used to buy cards. You buy cards with your poker chips, or you can reserve a card that's out on the flop there that's been revealed. And if you reserve a card, you get a gold chip, which can count as any of the gem colors. What these cards also have, in addition to points when you buy them, is they all provide a 1 gem discount for the rest of the game. So it's like an unlimited use gem. The way you win at Splendor depends on the number of players you're playing with. If you're playing a 2-player game of Splendor, what you do is you do a little bit of engine building. You build up a lot of cards so that you can buy expensive cards inexpensively and win that way. And very often when you're playing a 2-player game of Splendor, or maybe a 3-player game, you will win nobles, which are bonus cards that come from having certain numbers of Splendor cards to go with them. In 4-player Splendor, at the most competitive levels, Nobles are rarely taken because the game is usually over before you can build that up. The game ends up being more tactical, which means you almost have to math the game out from the beginning of the game. You look at the board, probably won't, but you can potentially figure out a way to get to 15 points, at least a good way to get a lot of the way there. You'll reserve cards that are key to your strategy and hope that whatever cards that you're going for aren't going to be the cards that your opponents are going for as well. Some of the gems cluster together too. Blue and green kind of cluster together. Red, black, a little bit white, they cluster together, meaning that going for those gems together will get you a lot of cards. You don't have to cross over into the other group that much. But obviously, if you have players that all know this, then there's going to be a lot of blocking, so taking up all the gems that other players need and things like that. Reserving cards that other players want, that happens a bit. So that's what you're faced with in Splendor. Now I'm going to go to sleep dreaming about poker chips and gems and all of that. A little bit sore from, this is ridiculous, right? Driving 8 hours both ways to play, 90 minutes of Splendor and probably just gonna get stomped. This is ridiculous.
Why can't you change your thinking? Everybody else does.
Because I'm a fighter.
109, I can get more sleep than I thought I would get. It's game day. Fueling up, realizing also that was more expensive than probably the hotel or the ticket. Well, you know who actually paid for this trip? Members of Jackson's Warfield. As special thanks for members, subscribers, and viewers of Jackson's Warfield, I'm pleased to announce the first giveaway in the history of the channel. Do you want to take part in a live online murder mystery that evolves over time? Well, now is your chance. Look Beyond Investigations is launching their first online murder mystery on April 20th, Hollowford Point. And 5 lucky subscribers of Jackson's Warfield will get to play for free.
A $20 value. To enter, check the link in the pinned comment. One of the 5 entries will be reserved for a $1 a month channel member. So become a member to get a great deal.
And I'll be playing too. So let's go solve a mystery.
Contest ends April 4th.
45 minutes away from the DoubleTree destination. I have no cell service here, so I can't really listen to anything. I guess I could put the radio on. That's weird. I probably haven't seen anything besides a pickup truck or an SUV on the road for about 20 miles. I arrived at the DoubleTree. Appears to be the correct one. Now I'm going to eat my leftover pizza, which I did put in the fridge at the hotel, but that was, kind of sitting out for a while. We carry around this box. It's the suitcase from Pulp Fiction, just like preserve it. That's my lunch. Well, brunch. Start getting mentally ready out of the way. Should go in there and just make sure I'm in the right place. I'm at the location. I got my badge, and I'm very early, so I got some time to wait here. Splendor starts at 12. It's about 10:30 now. What I usually do in this situation is I'll just walk around. Say they got a gym, they got a pool. I'm not gonna go in the pool. I'm not supposed to go in the pool. All right, with over an hour to kill, thought I would look for a cool store. All game stores open at 12, so I'm stopping by Bricks and Minifix. That's kind of cool. I got souvenirs for the kids from, what was the place I just went? Brick and Mortar? Bricks and Minifix. Yeah, for the car-loving son, Animal Crossing-loving daughter, very imaginative son. If they had Lord of the Rings Legos, I might have been filming an Oops, I Bought It video. When I'm in situations like this, I tend to be inspired to splurge. If they had Rivendell or Barad-dûr or something like that, I'm pretty sure Barad-dûr has been released for Lego. It was nice to walk around a bit because I really am going to regret spending extra time in the car by the end of the day. All right, now it's 11:23. I got to get back to the hotel to go play games. All right, just outside the hotel, because I don't want to film this one in the main area just in case. So there are 2 main Splendor strategies. You have the blue-green strategy and the red-black and white strategy. I guess in theory you could have engine building versus vertical strategies more, but I don't think engine building strategy is going to come into play very much in a 4-player game. I feel more comfortable, believe it or not, with a black, white, and red strategy, even though blue and green is more efficient. I have tricks up my sleeve if I find out these guys are super advanced. I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know if this is going to be the level of the World Series of Board Gaming. We'll see. If everyone's reserving cards right off the top, it'll be like the Board Game Arena Championships, where basically if there's a gold available, you reserve a card, almost, at least in the beginning of the game. I'm going to see if I can take pictures of each of the individual flop. 20 minutes to game time. They only have 5 players signed up. 2 or 3 player games. My training.
Game over, man. It's game over.
I
Training. I think I'm right, so we'll see.
Here's how the tournament went down. There was 5 people. So there were 2 games going on, a 3-player game and a 2-player game. Bit of a problem because I thought it was going to be all 4-player games. At least the problem for me. I got scheduled to play first in the 2-player game. And if you haven't played Splendor, both 4-player and 2-player in a competitive environment, 4-player and 2-player games play out very differently. I played an okay game in the 2-player game. However, I lost by 1 turn. About midway through the game, when my heart rate was still over 100, probably, because I was nervous about playing in a board game tournament, I made a bad reservation. My opponent was sitting on 4 or 5 black chips. I had 1 open spot in my hand, and I reserved a 5 green, 3 red for black. And at one point, I was at 10 chips with 4 green, 2 red. I was 2 chips off, and there was no way for me to get a gold because now my hand was full. And one of the stacks was empty. I'm trying to remember, it was either obviously of red or green, so I was in a pickle.
So you know how to take the reservation, you just don't know how to hold the reservation.
So I lost at least 1 turn, maybe more at this point in the game. It was a lesson for Splendor. Maybe it's not more important in 2-player because I was kind of playing it like a 4-player game. But never end up with 3 cards in your hand because you can't reserve. Game number 2. I get put in the 2-on-2 game again. This flop is a little bit different, and the player I'm playing is a little bit less serious, or so it would seem. I decided to go for blue-green strategy here, but my opponent, I don't know if it was intentional or not, went total David strategy. Just was going low card strategy. Was going, casual Splendor strategy, engine building. That was the right strategy for this board. There were no 5-point cards out for blue. None of the 4 7s that were useful, and he just flat out beat me. I think I was even a couple turns away from winning when I lost. So the first game I lost 15-10, and then I lost 15-11. In fact, going back now in the second game, there actually may have been a point in the second game where I could have tied. I could have gotten 15, but I forgot I was the second player and wasn't properly trying to figure out. You see, I knew my opponent was going to win the game in the next turn. I kept trying to think how I can win in 1 turn. I can't do it. But I didn't think through how could I win in 2 turns. And I don't think I could. I think it was 3. I was 3 turns away. So here's the situation going into the 3rd round. Player A had won both of the 3-player games and was almost certainly going to beat player B, who had just lost both of the 3-player games to him when they played 1-on-1 in the 3rd round. So realistically, the bye for the World Series of Wargaming was locked up by player A. Player C and player D, both of whom who had beaten me 1-on-1, were now going to play me in a 3-player match. And this was my only chance to save face, because if I won, then great, I'm probably in a 3-way tie for second. And if I lost, then I'm one of the 2 players that never won a game, and I would never have played the eventual winner, so it definitely would seem like I came in last place for the tournament. So I was excited to get this 3-player game in. I really wanted to win it. Now, I didn't take a picture of the board here, but maybe that was good luck, because I won, and I won easily in the 3-player game. I went with a black, red, white strategy. I barely did any blue or green chips, and that was it. I had 2 mistakes in game number 3. One, I started to buy a card from the row and decided not to buy it. And then one of my opponents was going to go reserve it, but he had already reserved 3 cards, so he couldn't reserve it. So I wasn't able to be a jerk about it. I screwed that one up. I remember they're playing, like, if any of my opponents had won, they had a chance at tying and winning the first round bye. That was my first mistake in this game. The second mistake was I had a card. It was the blue, it was either 2 black, 1 red, 4 white, or 2 white, 1 red, 4 black, or some combination of that for 2 points for a blue. I was at 13 points. I wasn't even looking at that card because it was a blue. By missing it, instead reserving another card because I thought I had to wait a turn anyway and I needed a gold to get a 4-point card in my hand. I lost a turn, so I was nervous for a second there, but I ended up getting 17 points and my opponents each got like 11 and 10, I think it was. So I had some breathing room there. So despite 2 mistakes, I won the 3rd game. So I got a 3-way tie for second between me and each of the players I played against twice. They just each beat me 1-on-1 and I beat them together. So the 1 player 3-1, 3 players at 1-2, and the 1 player at 0-3. So that's how it went. I had line of sight to actually doing it because I never played player A. I was one turn away from winning game 1. I might have been able to tie game 2 or maybe win it if I had realized how many turns I had left. And then I won the 3rd game. So I could have actually won all 3 games. It was conceivable. If I had played a 3-player game twice, maybe it was really conceivable. Who knows? With a different shake, especially if I never played the other really good player, I probably could have done it. But as far as the drive and all of this going into the trip, it is a significant undertaking to drive this far to do something for one day and drive back. You basically have to disappear from the face of the earth for a day. That can be fun for a dad like me that doesn't really go on trips very often, but it's the kind of trip that you only usually do like once or twice for what it is. Maybe I'll have the itch by this time next year and I'll want to do it again. But overall, I'm happy I did it. It appears that our boiler is sputtering. It stopped working but started working again, which is good because my boiler not working while I'm 7-8 hours from home isn't ideal. Oh, and also it snowed and there's like icy rain. So I might not be able to get in my driveway when I get home like after midnight. But hope you enjoyed this. I guess it's a vlog style video. I'm Jackson Warfield. Remember to keep playing and we'll see you in the next video. To a place with golden streets.